Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. So it's been confirmed that Jalen Ramsey is coming back for the 2026 season. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. I didn't think that he played that well. I didn't think he was such a great addition. I thought that Minkah Fitzpatrick is honestly a more disciplined safety, a better safety, a more natural safety. But if the Steelers want to keep Jalen Ramsey around because he's so-called the best on the market, I understand from that standpoint. If they want to keep Jalen Ramsey around because they want to get younger at defensive back and they want him to help develop other defensive backs, I'm also fine with that. But I kind of have mixed feelings about this. I thought he might be a salary cap casualty, as they say. Let me jump into the article. OMAR Khan confirms Jalen Ramsey will play for Steelers in 2026. I'd like to know what his PFF grade is. I hope they give it to me right here. To begin Tuesday, Pittsburgh Steelers GM OMAR Khan hinted defensive back Jalen Ramsey will remain with the team. To close the day, he confirmed it. Sitting down with NFL Network's Judy Batista, Khan acknowledged Ramsey will be with Pittsburgh in 2026. Yeah, I have mixed reviews about this. I mean, he's getting a lot of money. I know this coaching staff is excited to work with him, Khan said, as aired on NFL Network's The Insiders. Pressed by Batista to confirm whether that meant Ramsey would remain on the roster, Khan replied, "He will be a Pittsburgh Steeler, yeah." I mean, last year was Jalen Ramsey's first year starting at safety, from my knowledge. I know he gets moved around a lot. But when you go to corner to safety, that means that you've lost a step. Did he get beaten coverage often? I mean, it's kind of, I've seen him get beaten coverage. But then again, unless you're with the players in the meeting, you're not exactly sure what everybody's doing on the coverage. But a couple times he looked like he got beat, especially versus the Seahawks. In the opener, it was, a 40-yard bomb, kind of dragged across field, and he got beat. But, again, I could be wrong, but he did look like a liability in coverage, and he would keep peeking into the backfield, looking for the back, worried about the run, and then, wide receivers are running right past him. But we'll see. Carrying a heavy contract well into his 30s and making a midseason switch from corner to safety created uncertainty over Ramsey standing with the team. If he remains at safety, he'll be one of the highest paid in football. There we go. That's what I just said. But Khan embraced his versatility and willingness to switch to the back end, and a position he hadn't regularly played since Florida State. Well, I don't really think he had a choice. I think if he stayed at corner, he would have really got exposed the entire year, and he wouldn't be on the Steelers anymore. So, saying that his willingness, we like his willingness to play safety. Well, when you lose a step, you really don't have a choice. Either you're going to play safety or you're going to be out of the NFL. So you either like those checks or you don't like those checks, But hey, Khan said he wasn't sure what position Ramsey would play in 2026. Obviously, he's going to play safety. He's not playing corner. Just stop, okay? Just stop, please. We don't know what position he's going to play? Well, that's an interesting statement. I can't say enough about Jalen and his approach to the game and how good of a teammate he's been, he said. And he works hard, and I love his versatility. Last year, early in the year, we asked him to switch to the free safety position, and he did it. He hadn't practiced it. I think we will have a decision about where on the field he's going to play this year. He will be a safety. Whether it's free or strong is irrelevant. He's not going to be a corner, so just stop. To maximize his paycheck, playing corner is ideal, but Ramsey isn't fast as he was in his prime. Yeah, obviously. And many corners before him extended their careers by transitioning to safety. An entire offseason to settle into the position could make Ramsey a better safety even as he gets older. Well, that's true. And to be fair, I mean, it's his first time playing safety, so his eyes might get distracted, worried about the run coming up. But remember, Jalen, and who am I to preach to you? You're an NFL All-Pro safety, outstanding numbers. But your number one responsibility anytime you're a free or strong safety regardless of if you're in Pop Warner, high school, college, the NFL, is to let no man get behind you. That's your first responsibility, always at safety, and it always will be. That's the nature of the position. You know, I saw him at times peeking into that backfield and then receivers just running right by him, and that's not really a good look. Let me see where I was. Where Ramsey aligns could be dictated by the rest of the roster. What other cornerbacks and safeties are re-signed, brought in via free agency, and added during April's draft? He's going to be a safety. The question becomes whether Ramsey's teammates can say the same. Earlier in the day, Khan hinted linebacker Patrick Queen would also stick on the roster despite being floated as a potential cap casualty. Based on Khan's comments, the Steelers are fully expected to pick up Ramsey's $2 million roster bonus due March 13th. Additional money becomes guaranteed on that date. It will cement Ramsey's spot on the roster even if his positions remains fluid. You know what kills me about this? You know what makes me laugh about Steelers fans? I remember when Minka was getting all that money and, you know, everybody was losing their minds. The people in the stands, the media, the fans, everybody would go crazy. He's not making the splash plays. He's getting all that money. He needs to be gone, blah. Like literally it was like pandemonium, and it was bad. And I'm not even exaggerating. And Jalen Ramsey's getting huge money, and we don't hear the same complaints anymore. He's not really making splash plays. And I said this from day one when the trade happened. I don't want to hear anybody complain when we start giving up huge plays on the back end. And the Steelers last year gave up play after play, big plays on the back end when Ramsey was moved to safety and, you know, they brought him in at corner at first. That was the most big plays the Steelers gave up on the back end, you know, in years. After Minka was very, very disciplined. Fine, he wasn't making the splash plays. But we didn't give up that many, you know, big passes on the back end until we got rid of Minka. And people could say whatever they want. But how come I don't see the fan base going crazy about what Jalen Ramsey's getting paid? You act like this is chump change. Let's be serious. Steeler fans, I'll tell you, sometimes I love you guys, you know. But sometimes the logic just goes right out the window. I don't know if it's a personal thing. I don't know if you're mad he got the money because it's getting, you know, a lot of attention, how much money he got. But the same fan base isn't complaining about what Jalen Ramsey's getting, and he's, you know, way past his prime. Chris Boswell, let's see what he has to say. Chris Boswell has good reason to keep eye on Dallas. Probably about the pay because he's underpaid, which is ridiculous. If you see what Chris Boswell is getting paid, it's criminal. The Cowboys have an offer on the table that would make Brandon Aubrey the highest paid kicker in the NFL per source. And as of now, he wants more than they offered. Of course they do. They all do. That's partly why a deal has yet to be done. But you know what? Bosworth has been a team player. Boswell's like one of the... Every time I drink a diet soda, every time I have a sip of diet soda before I start filming... It like puts phlegm in my throat for some reason, and I never learn. I do it all the time. Like, yeah, let me get a sip of diet soda before I start my video. And every time I do it, it makes my makes my nose stuffy or something. I gotta stop. I really do. So just for good luck, let me take another sip. But anyway, Chris Boswell's been a real sport about this. He's not getting paid very well. He never complains. I mean, he is the Terminator. Last year, he misses a kick because the ground is wet, and everybody's like, oh, Chris Boswell's finished. He's done. It's over. Steelers are going to lose confidence in Bos. They're not going to kick anymore. It's just like, man, oh, God, sometimes Steelers fans, let's be serious. Right? Well, I hope Bosworth gets his money. I hope Boswell gets his money. He deserves it. And I like his approach to the whole thing. You don't really hear him complaining or anything, so good for you, Bos. Get your money. Let's look at Pittsburgh Steelers Combine meeting tracker updating. Number of known Steelers formal meetings with college players, 4. Number of known Steelers informal meetings so far, 2. Darrell Jackson Jr., Florida State. Lee Hunter, Texas Tech. Caden McDonald, Ohio State. He's a monster. Caden McDonald is. I watched a couple of Ohio State games. I don't know. He's like a big, sturdy frame. He just seems strong. He seems like a man-child out there. He's a big individual. He looks like a tough player too. He looks like he has Steelers DNA. Rogue X, Ramsey came from the Dolphins, right? Yeah, he came from the Dolphins. Too bad he can't go back, but hey. Linebacker Jake Golday, Cincinnati, and Bryce Bodicher, Oregon, informal. I always watch USC and Oregon games, and that Bryce Bodicher, he can play. I think he started as a baseball player. He's very athletic. I mean, people are going to automatically compare him to Cole Holcomb because they kind of look alike in a way, but I don't think so. I think he's much more athletic than Cole Holcomb, but hey, no stereotyping allowed on this channel. We don't do that. Not all white guys look alike. Let's be nice, okay? You got to be politically correct in 2026. Steelers buzzing about offensive guard Spencer Anderson's future. In season, Spencer Anderson could go from reporting as eligible to a full-time starter, uniquely used as a do-it-all blocker in the Pittsburgh Steelers jumbo packages throughout the 2025 season. Anderson's role could be more than part-time in 2026. With veteran Isaac Seumalo, a pending free agent, GM Omar Khan hinted Anderson could be his replacement. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I know Isaac's had a little bit of a pec problem. He's very durable. He plays hurt. You know, he's old. Listen, he's a guard. He's 32 years old. I don't really think he's as old as people think. I don't think 32 is, especially when you're playing guard. I mean, if you have a couple more cheeseburgers and slow down a little bit, it's like you're actually becoming kind of more squatty in a way. You're harder to move. And Spencer Anderson did play decent last year, but I'm not sure if he should be the replacement for Isaac Seumalo. Not sure I like that. Isaac's been great. Khan told reporters, including our own Joe Clark on Tuesday, when asked about the team's left guard situation. We've had some conversations with his people. Obviously, we'll evaluate the free agent class and the draft class. But Spencer Anderson, he played some, and we're excited about his future. He came in, did some nice things for us this year. He's another guy who's getting better and better every year. Yeah, I mean, he has been getting better. But I don't know. Anderson split his 2025 snaps between left guard 193 and as tackle eligible 160. Pittsburgh thrived in its big package of tight end Darnell Washington and Anderson, clearing the way on the perimeter. An advantage the Steelers held that most others didn't. Per the charting done by our team Mead, the Steelers averaged 4.9 yards per carry when Anderson was on the field. When he was off, the offense averaged just 4.3. Well, that remains to be seen. I mean, you can never have too many good offensive linemen, just like you can't have enough, good pass rushers. I like Isaac Seumalo. I like everything he brings to the table. I like his grit, his toughness. He's a guy that's not too talkative. He mostly leads by example, and I don't think he's past his prime. I think he can get another 2 good quality years out of Isaac Seumalo. I don't know about 3, but I would definitely give him a 2-year deal. 3 might be pushing it. I think he just had a pec injury. It could be more, but here we go. Ravens are already running their big mouth. Here we go. Don't want to lose to anybody. New Ravens coach Jesse Minter has mission of dominating the AFC North. Well, I can tell you right now that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, you little nerd. I don't want to lose to anybody in our division, Minter said Tuesday at NFL on CBS's YouTube channel. Yeah, I hate them. In a sense, I respect the rivalry. When I was here prior, Mike Tomlin, who's a mentor of mine, there's a high level of respect for the Steelers, their organization, how they operate. Bengals, their organization, how they operate. Cleveland, their organization, how they operate. At the same time, those are the teams you need to be successful. There's just a higher level of priority on those teams. When you operate, when you're building your systems, it's to be able to win those games. Oh, whatever, man. You're going to get your ass kicked like you always do. That's what's going to happen. So your team's a mess right now. Lamar Jackson isn't Lamar anymore. The offense was built around him because you got to change things up the type of player that he is. Your team is a disaster. The Ravens are in worse shape than the Steelers by far. So keep talking because we're going to kick the crap out of you. And I love beating the Ravens. Not just because I don't like their uniforms. For other personal reasons I'm not going to get into. Some very sloppy man that I know used to like the Ravens. Some troublemaker, degenerate that I know used to like the Ravens. So I love beating the Ravens. ESPN includes wide receiver DK Metcalf on off-season list of trade candidates. Well, I don't know if this is going to happen. Graziano somehow believes Metcalf is a trade candidate this offseason, all while pushing the narrative that Metcalf's contract isn't guaranteed moving forward after his 2-game suspension. This despite a report from Fox Sports' Jay Glazer that the Steelers didn't avoid I think this is so dumb. I think Graziano is just trying to sound interesting. I mean, this is so dumb. If the Steelers wanted to trade him, they could have just cut him. They didn't have to even give him the money. They didn't have to do... Like, these ESPN reporters are just... They're just terrible. They just lie and race bait and politic and make things up, and they say things that try to sound interesting. Let's think logically. The Steelers could have let Metcalf go, didn't have to pay him any of the $50 million they owed him, and they made it clear to Metcalf, like, hey, we want you. We don't care about the suspension. We don't care that you did something stupid and almost cost us our playoff life by, punching a man wearing a blue wig in the stands and then saying it was because of racism. We don't care about any of that. Here's $50 million. You really think they're trying to get rid of him? Just shut up. When he signed this deal last spring, Metcalf's $25 million in 2026 salary was fully guaranteed, but his 2-game suspension at the end of the season for an in-game altercation with a fan voided that guarantee and could in turn make Metcalf easier to trade if the Steelers are so inclined, Graziano writes. They'll be installing a new offense under new coach Mike McCarthy, and while dealing Metcalf would weaken them at a spot where they're already thin, the wideout could end up on the market if he's not fit for the scheme. Not going to happen. I mean, isn't he collecting checks right now? Isn't he getting some of the money since the season ended? I mean, what am I talking about? Yeah, he came back and he played in the game after he was suspended. They're obviously paying him, right, Graziano? Like, what are you talking about? It's just a stupid take. I noticed that all these ESPN analysts, they love to talk about the Steelers, and like 99.9% of them have no clue what they're talking about. Especially Mike Florio. Mike Florio, he's from Pittsburgh, and he claims like he's so plugged in all the time. And then you listen to his takes, and you're like, do you even watch the games? Like, do you have any clue what's going on, Mr. Plugged In? DK Metcalf, let's look at his contract. The contract, 4 more years at $28.75 million per year, nothing guaranteed. When he signed his deal last spring, Metcalf's $25 million in 2026 salary was fully guaranteed, but his 2-game suspension at the end of the season for an in-game altercation with a fan voided that guarantee and could in turn make Metcalf easier to trade if the Steelers are so inclined. Oh, whatever. I'm not reading this. It's just stupid. A good business person, if they really didn't like the guy, if they really didn't like, I mean, I know you want to have him for the playoffs. I understand that. But as soon as the playoffs were over, they could have just let him walk out the door. They could have been like, we're not paying you anymore. No more checks for you. No more checks for DK. It's time to go to, anger management or something. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I think this is a stupid article. No, just not buying. Especially when we're so thin at wide receiver. Do I think DK Metcalf is a wide receiver number 1? No, I think he's a 2. I think the Steelers are... Yeah, people don't want to hear that because of all the money that he's making, but I think he's a solid number 2. I don't even think he's like a spectacular number 2. I think he's a solid number 2. He's kind of like hit or miss. But then again, if you have a stud wide receiver 1, it could open up things more for him. But at this point, I think he's a 2. I don't think he's a 1. And I get the money, but hey, that's the market. Louis Reddick says, Will Howard isn't in the same stratosphere as Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson. I'm not going to lie. I didn't see any of Ty Simpson play, so I can't, make any statements about this. I really don't. I'll watch Alabama once in a while, but I always watch USC in games like Oregon, and I really like the USC quarterback, the Samoan kid. Big, sturdy frame. I'm going full Candace Owens again. I had a dream that, why do I always forget his name? Oh, I had a dream that the Steelers drafted Dylan Raiola in 2027. In the 2027 draft, I had a dream the Steelers drafted Dylan Raiola, and he worked out like the next Big Ben. So that's my full Candace Owens having dreams. For all of you that don't know, Candace Owens has been having some crazy visions, but I'm not trying to go political on my channel. This is what Louis Reddick had to say. I like Will Howard, Riddick said recently on ESPN's NFL Live. I don't like Will Howard as much as Ty Simpson. I don't even think they're in the same stratosphere as far as their ability to throw the football. Based upon the latter half of the season went, which wasn't all on him, the guy is banged up. The offensive line is very inconsistent. The running game was non-existent. And the wide receiver corps is up and down from week to week. Then he turns it around in the playoffs against Oklahoma and brings his team back from a 17-point deficit. He's tailor-made for Mike McCarthy's system, and Mike has coached some good quarterbacks. I don't think he's a reach at 21, and I don't think he's going to go before that. I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I don't think that Caleb Downs is going to make it past pick 4, the safety from Ohio State. You all know I love defensive football. You all know I love defensive backs. I mean, just look at my wall. You know what I'm into. So I'm always going to be kind of biased. And I don't think that Caleb Downs is going to be available, unless they Steelers trade up to like pick number 5 to grab him. But I don't know how I feel about drafting a quarterback this year. I mean, you have to say one thing, and I said this about the quarterback that the Giants took. Anybody in the group chat that remembers, Jackson Dart? Here's the thing, though. You have to remember this. When you play at Alabama and you play in the SEC, you see the most players that are going to play in the NFL for them. You're seeing, players that are going to go in the NFL and play defense. So you're seeing more NFL defenders than probably any other division in college football. And I said that about Jackson Dart. When the quarterback class was weak, when he came out, I said the number 1 quarterback off my board would be Jackson Dart. He'd be my first quarterback I'd take, just based off the competition that he played. He's playing the Georgias. He's playing the Alabamas. He's playing in that tough SEC conference. And the same thing with Ty Simpson. So if you're just doing it based off competition in a weak quarterback class, if you're like, you know what, we're definitely going to take a quarterback, then I would take a quarterback from the SEC. That's just my take. The competition matters. And I like Will Howard. Will Howard did play against good teams in college. He played some great teams, especially when he beat Oregon twice. Craig Carton, Craig Carton, everybody's favorite ticket scalper. Craig Carton pushes dumb NFL conspiracy involving Steelers. Here we go. Let's read it. Following the NFL's acknowledgement that 2 critical plays in Pittsburgh's Week 14 win over the Baltimore Ravens may have been the wrong call in favor of the Steelers, Carton wondered if the outcomes were manufactured. Technology failed us and got it wrong, Carton said in a tweet shared by his show's Twitter X account. And that makes me think it always does. Was it done on purpose? Was there an ulterior motive from the NFL that Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers make it into the postseason? I can't prove that's the case. I'm not even accusing them of that being the case, but it makes you think. Well, you know what? He has a point. You don't want the fans to think that the NFL is rigged. And every time the fans scream that the game is rigged and you get all outraged, you're like, oh, you're an idiot. These fans are idiots. They think the game is rigged. And obviously I'm a Steelers fan. And obviously I want to win the game. But I mean, this touchdown that was called back against Isaiah Likely, I think his name was. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. The man scored a touchdown. We should have lost the game. And I don't understand how you look at the replay and you could think anything different. Like, he catches the ball, he takes 2, 3, 4 steps, whatever, and then finally the ball gets knocked out of his hand because the defender's pissed off. And it's like, oh, it's not a touchdown. It's like, only Roger Goodell could overthink all this garbage, and just everything that Roger Goodell does to the National Football League, whether it's Thursday Night Football, the political messaging, the rule changes, the bullshit calls on the field, everything that Roger Goodell has done, none of it's been good. None of it has been good. Nothing. And I don't want to get into politics, but I'm tempted. I got to control right now. I'm trying to stay, I'm going to the dark side right now. I'm about to talk politics, but I'm trying not to. And I'm not going to go there. But everything that Roger Goodell touches, he destroys. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not going to go politics. All right, I'm getting pulled to the dark side right now. I got a whole separate channel for that, so I'm not going to get into that. I promise you. I promise. So let me stop. Let me take a deep breath. Woosah. Now this guy's a stud. This Dylan, I watched a couple Ohio State games with him. Fresh off, really good interview with Pittsburgh. Oh, wait. Hold on. This is not right. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Fresh off, really good interview with Pittsburgh. Defensive lineman Caden McDonald hopes to become Cam Hayward's teammate. I don't know. I watched a couple Ohio State games, and this guy's a man-child. He's a beast. He went on to say, oh, yeah, for sure, we have a great relationship. Cam Hayward's family, my family, and the Steelers. It's a great opportunity. I had a formal interview with them, and I felt really good about it. McDonald said Wednesday via transcript provided by the PFWA. McDonald joins a growing list of interviews the Steelers have conducted, staying on the defensive line. The Steelers have also interviewed Darrell Jackson Jr. and Lee Hunter. Elsewhere on defense, the Steelers have met with linebackers Jake Golday and Bryce Butcher and edge Anthony Lucas. I mean, I know we got a defensive tackle last year, round 1, with Derek Harmon. But this guy's a monster. I don't know how big he is. Let me see if they put his stats in here. No, of course not. I'm not going to look it up, but he's a rugged player. He's a tough player. To me, from a distance and only watching 2 or 3 games of him, he looks like he has Steelers DNA. He looks immovable. Obviously, I know we need a quarterback, but what's the number one priority? What is the number one priority of the Pittsburgh Steelers? What is the number one priority of the black and gold? What's the number one priority? And it's stopping the run. The Steelers are they're averaging 156 yards a game, giving up rushing yards on the ground. It's absolutely abysmal. It's absolutely un-Steeler-like. It's just total garbage. And I say this all the time. It's like, one week the Steelers will give up 300 yards rushing, and the following week they'll give up 150. And then the fan base and everybody's like, the beat writers are like, oh, Steelers are back. They played the run great. You call giving up 150 rushing yards in a game great football? I mean, God, don't tell that to the 2007, 2008 Steelers defense when they averaged they gave up 88 rushing yards per game. Whew. Man, have the mighty have fallen. It's just amazing. It's like we're giving up, 150 yards a game and guys are happy. Here we go. Stephen A. Smith. I said that Khan needs to do a better job picking the players also. But the angle that Stephen A. Smith always takes, it's not an honest angle that he's taking. He always takes the angle to try to make it look like, oh, the Steelers got rid of Tomlin and it was somebody else's fault, or the reason Mike Tomlin wasn't having success was because of Omar Khan and the organization and Art Rooney, and everybody was letting Tomlin down except for Tomlin letting all of us down. So whenever Stephen A. Smith talks about the Steelers, he always does it from a dishonest angle with no integrity. So this is what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Could you do your job? Stephen A. Smith rips Omar Khan amid search for next franchise quarterback. Omar Khan, could you do your job? Do your job. How long is it going to take you for you to find a quarterback? Smith said Wednesday on First Take. According to video via ESPN, At some point in time, you ain't playing. What are you doing? What you doing? Somebody got to say it. Go find something other than a 42-year-old. You gonna go the geriatric route and literally sit here dependent on this man to come back? You know, Stephen A. Smith, we know what he is, but he's 42. It's one thing to have him on your roster. It's another thing to sit back and wait for him. That's a different issue altogether. That shows me you ain't doing your job. Could you do your job, please? Pretty please, dang. Stephen A. Smith, I don't think you have an honest bone in your body. I think with you, everything is political and race because you show your true face all the time. And if you knew anything, if you knew anything about the Steelers or you were plugged in to the Steelers, you would know that when, excuse me, you would know that when Aaron Rodgers made them wait the first time, he had some family members that were ill, very ill, and he was taking care of them. You know, supposedly Aaron Rodgers' decision is going to be made in March, but they did say we're not giving him a timeline. And it would be very stupid from a strategic standpoint to just cross Aaron Rodgers and just be like, oh, we definitely don't want him back, right? Let's say, for instance, we bring in Aaron Rodgers to camp and Will Howard is clearly better. Okay, fine, play Will Howard. But it doesn't do any... And here's another thing that Stephen A. Smith always conveniently forgets. Aaron Rodgers was not a drama queen when he came to the contract. He played for the bare minimum. He could have easily asked the Steelers for $25, $35, $40 million. He didn't. I think he played for $10 million. So that's like chump change to Art Rooney and the Steelers. So just to dismiss Aaron Rodgers is ridiculous because he's not asking for big money at all, Aaron Rodgers. Once again, he played for $10 million last year, which is chump change in the NFL at quarterback. So, you know, Stephen A. Smith's takes are never genuine. They're never honest. They're never done with integrity. He's always doing it from an angle that somehow everybody else failed Tomlin, and that's why you really can't listen to him. So, whatever. I wouldn't expect anything else from Stephen A. Smith, and I don't anticipate him changing anytime soon. It's just amazing how him and racist Ryan Clark have made ESPN unwatchable, and they get paid, you know, $20 million a year to do that, to basically destroy the entire network. But hey, here we go. A London game remains a possibility for Steelers in 2026. Hey, look, Roger Goodell. This is American football. You shit on the fans all the time. The halftime performance, I mean, God, it's too much to ask that the halftime performance be in English. But we don't need any more games going to foreign countries. I don't care where it is. See, it's like the amount of money that Roger Goodell in the NFL, it's never enough. It's just never enough. Never enough. And everything that Roger Goodell does destroys the NFL. It's just, he'll just keep tinkering with it and messing with it. They want to add another game to the schedule. First of all, a 16-game schedule for the players is perfect. Their bodies can't handle any more. These aren't robots. They're human beings. Okay, Roger? I know you just look at them as bottom line in business and a bunch of cattle. They're humans. Especially the Thursday night games, Roger. First of all, the football is total garbage. The players' bodies can't recuperate from the Sunday. And now you want them to fly out of the country and like take longer flights. They don't have time to recover, Roger. So how about this, Roger? Oh my God, I can't stand this man. Remember one thing, the Pittsburgh Steelers as a team when Tomlin was coach, they all voted. They're the only team that voted no to not give Roger Goodell full control. Every other team in the NFL voted yes to give Roger Goodell full control of the NFL because he promised them more money, a bigger piece of the pie. The Steelers were the only team that voted no. And that's exactly why the league has the problems that it does now. Bad Bunny at the halftime. You can't hit anymore. You know, like, God forbid, you know, could you imagine Jack Lambert playing in today's NFL? You know, after he made a tackle and he looks at a guy and he barks at him, oh, a flag comes out. Be nice to your rivals. Like, Roger Goodell hired a moron, hired a wokester to make you be nice to your rivals. Like, what the F do you think this is? This is a National Football League. Just because you're intense on the field with your opponent and you get a little mouthy, maybe some pushing and shoving, that's normal. Nobody's saying they're going to have an MMA fight in the middle of the football field. But Roger Goodell, Roger Goodell is trying to turn the NFL into flag football. He's trying to turn it into something that it's not. It's a violent game played by disciplined, violent men. That's what it is. We're not tuning in for these guys to, write poems and kiss each other and give each other hugs and sing Kumbaya songs. We're tuning in to see quarterbacks get crushed. We're tuning in to see a wide receiver get smashed. But not in Roger Goodell's woke NFL. Pretty soon we're all going to be writing poems and hugging trees during the course of the game and, sing Kumbaya songs. That's what Roger Goodell wants. God, I can't stand them. Hey, Rogers. Here we go. While we're on the topic, UFL makes radical rule changes the NFL could one day copy. Here we go with the bullshit. The UFL has announced new rules for its upcoming spring season. Tush push is banned. 60-plus yard field goals worth 4 points. No punting from inside opposing territory. Hey, Roger, do us a favor. Leave the effing game alone. It was a beautiful game, Roger. It was a beautiful league, controlled and played by masculine men. Something that you obviously aren't. Something that you will never comprehend, Roger. And how do I know this? How do I know that without speaking to you, Roger Goodell? I know this by all the decision-making that you make. Why would you let Jay-Z, of all people, a guy that's on the Epstein client list numerous times, pick who's going to perform at the NFL halftime show, Roger Goodell? Isn't it about the shield? Isn't it all about that beautiful NFL shield? Faith, family, football. But hey, that guy on the Epstein list named Jay-Z, let's let him pick the halftime show. Right, Roger? God, you make me sick, Roger. You know why, Roger, I'm going to tell you, and I've said this multiple times. You know why I can't stand you, Roger? It's nothing personal. It really just is business. It really just is business. I loved the National Football League as a kid. I loved it. I absolutely adored it. I loved Pat Summerall. I loved the game. I loved everything about it. And you have single-handedly destroyed the NFL. Now I only watch the Steelers and the game goes off. I do not watch ESPN anymore because of racist Ryan Clark and the clown Stephen A. Smith. It's unwatchable woke garbage. It's just a hot dumpster fire. You're trying to make the NFL feminine, Roger, and that's why I can't watch it. And that's why I absolutely despise you, Roger. It's not personal, Roger. Your decisions have made me despise you. Because the one thing that I truly loved, the National Football League, you've destroyed it. So stop tinkering with the game. Stop. You remember how exciting the kickoff was during the Super Bowl? Like all the cameras when they get the kickoff shot. Now we got that bullshit kickoff that Roger Goodell thinks this is soccer. Okay, fine. You want to get rid of the wedge because it's kind of dangerous. You don't want the guys to lock. Okay, I get it. I understand that. But this is the National Football League, Roger. And if you don't like contact, physicality, or violence, then maybe you should go, be the commissioner of badminton or pickleball or some other non-contact sport and bring all your feminine ways over there. And then on top of it, hey, he's all about safety, but wants the players to play Thursday night football, wants them to play an extra, let's add another game to the season. And I got off track before. The 16-game season, look at all those records that were made in 16 games. Now those records don't mean anything because you get an extra game, and now they're making another extra game. So all that hard work that all these great NFL players put in, all their pride that they put on the line, and they're very proud of those records, those men. And Roger Goodell just says, you know what? I don't give a F about those records. I don't care. You know what? I don't give a shit. I'm going to do it my way because no amount of money is ever good enough for the NFL. No amount of money is ever good enough for Roger Goodell and the owners of the NFL. And you see that. And you know how you see it? because the product on the field is not seasoned anymore. Most of the time, you're watching total garbage football. Like when the Steelers played the Patriots this year, I think week 3, we played the Patriots. That is one of the worst football games I've ever seen in my life. It was just hot garbage. And I remember we won the game. And I remember saying to myself, like, wow, Steelers are absolutely horrible. We suck. Tomlin needs to go. That's some of the worst football I've ever seen. It was so bad. And he wanted to get rid of two-a-days. And he wanted to make this a comfortable game. He wanted us to make this a feminine game. And that's why we're all watching garbage on Sunday afternoons or Monday night. You know, that's why the players are not as seasoned anymore. They're not as physically tough. They're not as mentally tough. They're just hot garbage. I mean, some of them, you look at them, you're like, dude, did you ever work out in your life? Like, you're a professional athlete. Yeah, you know, you look horrible. But whatever. That's Roger Goodell's woke NFL. Welcome to it. It ain't going to change. That's why when the Steelers go off, I just turn the channel. I used to know everything that was going on, this team, and that I should pay attention to everything. Now, as soon as the Steelers are done, boom, off. No ESPN, nothing. Won't watch it, never will. I'm done. I'm officially done. Steelers don't feel obligated to draft quarterback in 2026. That's coming from Omar Khan. That's a good thing. You shouldn't reach. You shouldn't feel fan pressure. If your stud quarterback, if your future quarterback is not there. And remember, there's going to be added pressure to take a quarterback because the NFL draft is in Pittsburgh this year. Don't do it. Don't reach for a quarterback because we all saw what Kenny Pickett did to the Pittsburgh Steelers, pushing us back, years. He set the organization back another 10 years, but hey. Let me end it with this. Let's see what's going on. Omar Khan, opportunity is going to be there for Will Howard to show he can start at some point. There's a lot that can happen between now and then, but the opportunity is going to be there, I think, whether it's this year or at some point for him to show us what he's got. Khan said Tuesday on the Rich Eisen show, we wish we would have seen him play in the preseason. He got hurt. That was unfortunate. But we spent a lot of time dissecting his practice film and what he's done. I understand that it's practice, but Mike McCarthy and we've evaluated it and feel really good. We've seen the improvement week to week when he's out there, and it was just unfortunate he got hurt last year, and we couldn't see him on the field. Exactly. He's going to have to beat out Aaron Rodgers for the job. If Mike McCarthy doesn't feel he's the best man for the job and he can't beat out Aaron Rodgers, a 42-year-old quarterback, then I guess he's not going to play. I mean, it was really important to see him in the preseason, but again, he got hurt. There's nothing he could do. He got hurt, end of story. But remember one thing about Will Howard, and it's, forget everything else. Forget the round that he was drafted in. Forget his size. Forget all that. He went to Kansas State. He brought them to a championship level. And they're not really, a great team, but he was like, 2 games away from the national championship in college. He really elevated Kansas State. He goes to Ohio State. He wins the national championship. So, he's as big as Josh Allen, and he plays at a very high level when he plays football. So just to dismiss him, it would be a mistake by the Steelers. We have to see what he has. We have to see what he can do. And it's very important he gets into the preseason this year. So, and plus his attitude. If Will Howard doesn't work out, it's not going to be because of a lack of effort. It's not going to be because of arrogance. It's not going to be because he's a pain in the ass in the locker room. If it doesn't work out, it's just because he's not good enough. That's simple. But I hope it goes right for him. I really like Will Howard. I really like Jack Sawyer. I like Y.A. Black. I really like our picks. Super Chaos 777. I'm all in for playing Will Howard. Yeah, we got to see what he has, but he's got to beat out. If Aaron Rodgers comes back and he can't beat out Aaron Rodgers, then he's got to be on the bench. But yeah, if he could beat him out and he's clearly better than Rodgers, then he should play. Because the Steelers, Rodgers is coming back. I don't think Rodgers is retiring. So that's just my opinion. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. I'm going to end it with that. Let me get out of here. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.